Hey everybody, Sid Sexton and my good friend Keith Glines with another episode of the Overlap Podcast. And for those just tuning in after 100 episodes, one, where have you been? And two, this is the Overlap Podcast. What we're all about is the overlaps between family, fitness, business, parenting, management. How you show up for the workout is how you're going to show up at home. How you show up at home is how you're going to show up at work, and vice versa. And really based on the idea that there is no compartmentalization in life, even though we tell ourselves that. Getting better in one aspect of life, and we sort of use the aspect of business, leadership, those type of areas of our life help us become better in other aspects of life. Getting better in fitness or jujitsu or some other endeavor does help us. It does overlap in other aspects of life. And that's really what the Overlap Podcast is all about. And today we're kind of back in the studio. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Sid.
And we're sort of bypassing the list of topics that we've gotten set up because Keith has gone away and had a life-changing, not really, but he had a really impactful trip that he's been talking about a lot. I've heard him tell a lot of other people about it, and we thought hopefully this would be helpful to you too. So Keith, why don't you tell us what went on? What
this
you had
show
going
is
on?
titled Epiphany on the Mountain.
We will have approximately 7 listeners with that.
7 listeners.
But those 7 are going to get something out of it.
I don't know if we do that anymore because our moms don't even listen. Your mom never did. She could never figure it out.
She couldn't figure out the podcast world.
My mom has told me I'm boring. So,
yeah. Well, she's heard it all.
Yeah, she has and seen it all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I got away a little bit. An impromptu trip.
An impromptu trip. So, an impromptu trip where, when, how?
Oh, man, I went to a place that I said I would never go back to.
Okay.
Because I hate it. And no one hate on me, but I just cannot stand Gatlinburg.
Oh, unpopular opinion coming in.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Can you confirm or deny that you're an Alabama Roll Tide fan?
I am.
Oh my God! And you don't like Gatlinburg?
No, it's
That's
like a cross between a state fair, a flea market, and I don't know, like a festival.
Okay.
And I just don't like any of those.
But it's in the mountains, you know.
It is in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the traffic, and I don't like the kitschiness of the sort of tourist area, but I do like the scenery. I do like the fact that it's relatively cool.
I really think you probably like an airbrush T-shirt.
I don't like an airbrush T-shirt. That was going to be my other question, besides you being an Alabama fan, which they might revoke your membership.
If I don't like Gatlinburg.
What do they call that? Like the Crimson Tide Club or something? They'll probably, if you don't like Gatlinburg, I don't know that you can be an Alabama fan. But okay, yeah, and I hate airbrush T-shirts.
And let me just say that this is the second time we've recorded this podcast. One, we recorded to nobody for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so this is just going to...
it's probably going to be terrible.
Amplify my disdain for technology.
But you live in a technology world.
And I do technology for a living.
Oh, my God.
But anyway, so anyway, we went, and this is the first time I've done Gatlinburg like this. We camped.
Okay.
We were away from it a little bit, the festival and the flea market and the shopping.
The tourist trap that is Gatlinburg.
Yeah, but so shout out to Teddy Roosevelt. State parks are awesome.
So is this a state park or a national park?
I think it would be a national park.
Yeah, that's Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, that's Teddy Roosevelt, and that's what I meant.
Yeah,
when I said state park,
that's okay.
But national park.
I could have been wrong about that.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's called the Great Smoky Mountains
National Park.
Okay.
It's where the Cherokee Indians set up. However, to tell a little history, the Trail of Tears is there.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of depressing.
When you grow up in Oklahoma, you have a little bit of that every single year. There's Oklahoma history, and then there's American history, and in the American history, it's even Trail of Tears. It's like it's woven into the DNA of anyone growing up in Oklahoma.
And that was kind of hard to explain to my daughter. Hey, this is where we took the Indians and moved them out of their.
And they said, yeah, hey, look, guys, we know you've been living here for a few hundred years, but we like that land better. Can we just push you down to this no man's land that we think is nothing, which is, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma and Atmore. Who wants to be there?
Well, they're the people that kind of stayed along the way, but neither way.
Whatever.
That's not what we're talking about. So you got away and with your 15-year-old daughter?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
And it was one of the best experiences that I've had with just a kid. I have 4 kids, but just to take one of them and just hang out where you have no cell phone, no communication with the outside world, and you get to go into nature. It's one of the best things ever. Yeah. So we hiked Mount LeConte.
Okay.
Which is the tallest peak in Tennessee.
Okay.
There's a shelter up there.
What is a shelter? What do you mean?
It's a 3-walled with a roof. The front's cut out of it.
Okay.
So bears can come in if they want.
Okay. What's the size of this shelter?
It's probably 25 by 20.
Oh, dang. Okay.
12 people can stay there. You have to have a permit to stay there.
Okay.
Most of the time of the year, it's booked out, but we found one day that it was available, and we said, we're going.
This freaking not enclosed shelter is booked out?
Every day.
What does it cost? Like $5 to sleep there?
The weeks running up to our trip and the weeks preceding it, it's booked total. There's 12 people that stay in there, and it's not real big. I'll post a video on the blog page.
Okay.
On the page of the shelter. And then it's got a little bear string on the side. You said you've had to do that before.
Oh, yeah.
You put your food in a bag, clip it to a hook, and then pull it 20 feet in the air so the bear can't get it.
Huh. Yep, I've done that before, and you got to do that. What kind of bears do they have? They've got black bears?
They're black bears. And the only bear we saw, though, well, we saw 2 bears, and it was both in the car. It was never hiking.
Okay.
We saw a bear right downtown Gatlinburg as we were driving to the mountain.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
And it was just walking down the street like a person.
Was it in an airbrush T-shirt?
No, It was not. But you can get an airbrush T-shirt with a bear on it. Yep. There's a lot of those options.
Yeah, you can. You can get Roll Tide on there, too.
Yeah.
With a bear
on
it.
And I'm going to make the NASCAR folks mad. I went with a friend and his daughter as well. And I taught them, I actually like NASCAR, and I like Dale Earnhardt. And so
senior or junior or both?
I like both, but senior's the man.
Oh, okay.
And I taught them the saying, "Raise hell, praise Dale."
Okay.
And so they were yelling out the window as we were driving through the town of Gatlinburg.
Oh yeah.
Rolling the windows down because they wanted to say "Raise hell." I think.
Oh yeah.
They were yelling at people. Raise hell, praise Dale.
You must have been proud.
I was very proud.
Okay, so listeners, fun fact, Keith doesn't like kids, and he spent 4 days with 2 kids.
I did.
Locked in with them, 0 way to escape.
In a tent.
And so that's why I thought, and he was going on and on about how great the experience was. So I thought, man, we got to investigate this a little more. So go ahead. So
Mount LeConte,
you got to get some permits.
You got to get some permits. You got to go through you got to get through the national park system.
Okay.
So it's like a legit trip.
Okay.
I called camping, going out in the woods, setting up a tent. I never knew you had to go through these, legal processes, which
Yeah.
you do.
You do.
They
want to know you're there.
Hey, and you know what? That I figured out. The government has figured out how to even charge you for camping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they do that.
They hadn't quite figured out elections, but that's for a different.
Yeah,
show.
mate, that's a whole podcast.
That's not
that
really
we need
up
to talk
in
about.
our genre.
So you start out at 2,000 feet and you end up at almost 7,000 to 6,300 feet of elevation.
Okay, so 4,300 feet of gain.
Of gain.
Over how long of a period of time?
6 miles.
Okay.
The total hike's 7 miles to the shelter.
Oh, dang.
So you have 2 days of hiking. And so what we did is we had a base camp that we just stayed in. It had some amenities to it, like a toilet, and a bath where you could change clothes or whatever.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Didn't have showers, so we had to bathe in the streams for a week, which was great.
Was it cold?
It was very cold. So it was like doing a cold plunge every day.
I was about to say, did you tell everyone about your cold plunge experience or something?
I did, yeah.
That's what I feel like that's a prerequisite. If you're into cold plunging, you have to tell everyone.
Well, yeah, and then I meant it's even better to have a natural cold plunge.
Oh, well, yeah, and running water.
Yep.
Across it.
Yep, we swam in all that.
Yeah.
So over 3 days, we hiked 24 miles.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know anything about 15-year-olds. But
I do. I've got one. A 15-year-old daughter, as a matter of fact.
Yep. And so you, 90% of the time we were at places with no cell service. So if I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times. I don't have any service.
Okay. Perfect.
But I tell you what, it was amazing because by day 2, she had settled in. And you have to talk. And so you get to talk with your kid and you get to find out about them because you've missed the last 3 years of them being on Snapchat taking forehead pictures. Hey guys, this is Keith. Let me break down a scenario for you. Are you a business owner that is overwhelmed by the options of investing, but you're being told you need to invest in retirement, you need to invest in mutual funds, you need to buy some single stocks? Well, I have your fix. C2 Wealth Strategies, ran by our friend Wes Cody. Their website is c2wealth.com. If you are looking at investing at all and are confused by it, give them a call today. They will be happy to handle whatever you need. He's brought up very specific things that I need to be working on as a business owner in my investing life. Let him do that same thing for you. c2wealth.com or go to the overlaplife.com page and click on sponsors.
Hey there. My good friend Steve Bousquet and his partner Christine Era, the owners of Green Profit Academy, are super excited about a new product they've got coming out. If you didn't know, they're the authors of Profit First for the Lawn Care Business. And it's a book written by Christine Era. Steve plays a big role in sort of adding to that. But they've got that book. It's already out. But if you're an audiobook listener, and you just learn better by listening, they've got the audio version coming out. And I think this is really cool. They've got Christine Era narrating the audiobook, and she does a really good job. I've heard some clips of it. It's pretty fantastic. And Mike Michalowicz, the original author of Profit First, he reads the foreword. And so they've got a book launch that's going to come out on their website, Green Profit Academy, and you should stay tuned. For more information about that. They're going to have some giveaways. They're going to have some other special deals going on. But the book itself, the audio book, will come out September 12th. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you need some help with Profit First for your green industry business, please give them a call or look them up, Green Profit Academy. Thanks so much. I don't know what that's about.
Mm-mm.
And maybe someone can let me know why that's a thing, why they have half of their face, it's in the dark. It's them looking off in some other different direction while they take I don't get it. And that's when I knew I was old and that Geico can't save me from being my parents. I started complaining about Snapchat to them. I'm like, that is stupid.
Yeah, it's
What
stupid.
are you doing?
And I don't understand about a streak. Like, I don't care that you have 1,000-day streak talking to your friend and you're going to lose it.
A streak? I didn't know about this.
That means if you talk to someone every day, you create a streak.
Oh, well, isn't that good for Snapchat to develop little streaks so they'll continue to use your app?
Oh, you want
sheep.
you want to figure something out that's even worse? If you miss a streak with your friends, you can pay Snapchat to lie and say that you can have continued your streak.
No, you cannot.
Yes.
Oh,
you have to pay to get your streak back.
You mean there's no integrity in the social media world?
No.
I can't believe it.
Nope.
You mean that if I actually had a streak that was 1,000 days, but I really missed several days in between,
You can pay $7 and get it back.
Oh, $7. For just $7, I could have a 1,000-day streak.
Yep.
Oh, man. I'm shocked by all of this.
Yeah.
I'm shocked by all of this. And
I learned a ton on this trip about that.
Sounds like you know way more than I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, because she was griping about it the whole time. I'm going to lose my streak.
Oh, well, she can just pay to get it back on track.
Yeah, I think that's what she said she was going
I
to
mean,
do.
you can pay for her to
pay.
continue to be on her streak, which is very important. That makes perfect sense to me.
Right. So anyway, so first day, we got there, we camped at the bottom of the mountain.
Okay, you had like a base camp,
yeah,
huh?
like a base camp.
like you're gonna go up K2 or Everest?
Like I treated it like Everest, but I did everything wrong.
Did you have a Sherpa?
I did not.
That's why you did everything wrong.
However, they do take supplies on alpacas.
Get out of here.
To the top of Mount LeConte for supplies and stuff.
For the shelter?
No, you got to be bougie and stay at the lodge. So there's a lodge at the top of Mount LeConte as well. And it's you feel very alienated if you're staying in the shelter because they don't let you have the amenities of the lodge.
Oh, this is why it was so revolutionary for Keith. He was not part of the bougie crowd for a change.
Nope.
Did that hurt your feelings?
Not really. I had such a good time.
You had to deal with it at first.
I actually looked at disdain as I was pumping water at the people at the lodge because they were weak.
You pumped at them?
Yeah.
Or you were pumping your water and staring at them?
Yeah, I had to filter the water that we were drinking because when you're a real hiker, you don't take your own water.
Oh,
you get it from God's resources.
Okay. Did you have to use the little water drops?
No, I have a filter.
Oh, okay. Is it like a charcoal filter?
Kind of like that. I'm not sure what filters the water. It just says it worked, and I didn't get sick, so I think it worked.
Oh, I got off topic. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
So
you didn't have a Sherpa, but you did everything wrong. What did you do wrong?
Oh,
you had a water filter. That sounds right.
Well, yeah, only because the guy at REI. I went to REI first.
Oh, okay. Of course you did. God, Keith always has the best gear, y'all, no matter what he's into.
Dude, this filter will filter like 500 gallons of water that I bought.
Okay.
$27. It's pretty good.
Well, did you drink 500 gallons of water for 24 miles in 4 days?
I drank a lot.
Okay.
But I didn't feel so good because So I was drinking pond water, like stream water.
Roll Tide.
But I was putting element in it. So I found a way to make free water cost $1.
Yeah.
Because you're paying $1 anyway for the element.
And for those that don't know, it's on I think it's in Keith's stuff or gear stuff. Element is that hydration stuff, right? Yeah. It's just like the little package you put in there.
Yeah. So
he was staying hydrated.
So we were there. We camped the first night.
At your base camp.
We started the hike the second day.
Before we get into the hike, we've touched on it a couple times. You did everything wrong. What did you do wrong?
Well, and that's really going to go into the hike. Because
Okay, tell me about the hike.
As you ascend, you start figuring out, one, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm staying one day. I look like I'm going on a K2 exploration.
Yeah, I saw the photo.
Yeah, I bought a pack that should last me 2 weeks. I filled it up for one night. It was about 35 pounds.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
And you went 7 miles with
7 miles.
2 miles of elevation, essentially.
Yep.
Oh, my. Yeah. 35 pounds.
Yeah.
On your back.
On your back.
What did J.A. have?
She had about 30 pounds.
Oh, dang.
However, what was really depressing is that she had a little North Face like book bag with her. When we got down, she took everything out of her pack that she carried up, and it fit in the little bag.
Oh.
And so except like her sleeping bag and such.
Yeah.
And by the way, you don't take your sleeping bag from home on a hiking trip because they're like 4 times the size of a backpacking one.
Yeah. All right.
And they weigh like 5 pounds in itself.
That's a lot.
A real backpacking sleeping bag weighs 1 pound to 2 pounds. So it cuts a lot down.
Okay. So you started up the hike.
Started up the hike.
With 35 pounds on your back.
35 pounds. What was depressing is seeing other people with much smaller packs going to stay for 2 weeks, and I'm going for 1 day.
They're staying where 2 weeks?
On the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, is this part of the Appalachian Trail?
It is off of the Appalachian Trail.
Oh.
So
they're
some
like
of the
making their way there or something?
Yeah, and people that want to hike the Mount LeConte.
Okay.
So the people come through there that are hiking the Appalachian Trail, and you'll ask them, you'll say, hey, well, how long have you been on the trail? Oh, a month. And they go, how much does your pack weigh? 20 pounds.
20 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
20 pounds, you've got 15 more pounds than they do.
For one night.
Yeah, I'd say you did it wrong.
Yeah, but you know what? We did it.
Yeah, true.
It taught me a ton, and I want to go do it again, and I want to learn about it because it's one of those things. It's kind of how I got into skiing, It's just trying it and say, hey, because I've done a ton of day hiking, but just never done any of that backcountry type stuff.
Well, good thing you started with a 1-day hike and not a 2-week hike.
Yeah, probably so, because I would have taken 80 pounds then.
That would have been tough.
And it would have been tough. So you learn a lot. But what I enjoyed the most and why I've talked about it so much is the joy I have from getting to hang out and learn about my kid. Because there's nothing that you can talk about other than what's going on and the pain you're going through.
No, so some community or relationship building through shared suffering.
Right.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, and so do hard things. I mean, we say all the time, do hard things.
Yeah.
And to do hard things with your kid is the best thing ever.
That's awesome.
And to see her thrive and say, I want to do this more. This is awesome.
That's good.
She did that for the first 2 miles. Then we got in to the elevation part where you gain most of the elevation over the next 2.5 miles. And the bitching started. But to even see her handle that was amazing.
So was it a few questions right now? Was it fun-filled bitching? Was it just
fun-filled bitching.
Okay, so it was like, we're making a joke out of it, not like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And how dare you? Damn you! I'm turning back.
Right.
None of that.
Right.
Well, that's good.
And to not be able to find a rest stop is amazing.
Okay. Not be able to find a rest stop. Okay.
Or a gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens in the wilderness when nature calls?
Okay.
to see her have to navigate that.
Life got more simple.
Way more simple.
And she's cut up. Your whole group was cut off from the World Wide Web and the cellular web that there is. Cut off from social media and the persona that they have to uphold for that, and then that gets cut off, and eventually they settle into who they really are.
Right. I mean, you have a 15-year-old.
I do.
They take multiple baths a day.
They do.
They have to change wardrobes.
Yeah, and
3 times.
And do you have avocado for that?
Right.
Well, no, we don't, because they're from Mexico. Get out of here.
Talking about avocado, that's another thing that I did wrong, was not calculating how many calories you were going to burn.
Ooh, okay.
And that you had to refill those calories at some point.
Well,
So needless to say, our trip back down was very hungry. We were all hungry. We were all very calorie depleted.
Okay. Did you get grumpy?
Yeah. I mean, you've been around me when I'm hungry.
I know. When Keith gets hungry, he gets grumpy. Oh, I can't say that I don't either. Okay, so you didn't pack enough food?
No, not at all. I mean,
what'd you pack?
Ramen does not suffice when you burn 2,500 calories in a day.
No. Did you have like a little jet boil and some water, and you were going to make some ramen?
Yeah, we cooked our little ramen.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm awesome. I get to the lodge.
Yeah.
There's guys making quinoa.
Oh, of course they are.
Knows what they're doing, and they had fresh vegetables, and they're like, oh, our favorite thing is to eat on the trail, and I'm eating my ramen.
Yeah, you did it wrong.
The one thing we did right was coffee.
Okay.
The guy at REI again talked us into this
French press.
French press.
Yeah.
For the trail.
I love a French press on a camp trip.
Oh, it's awesome.
Was it like super lightweight?
It was super lightweight, and it came with its own cup and all that kind of stuff. So we did do that. I bought this really cool stove that you take for backpacking.
Not a jet boil?
I mean, kind of a jet boil.
Oh, okay.
You just screw it on the canister.
Yeah.
Of,
and it's got like a little holder for it.
Yeah, a little holder for the pot.
Okay.
And so
Keith does love his gear, man.
So
and REI is the spot.
Dude, I've got my gear list now.
Yeah, are you an REI member?
I am an REI member. I had to do that. I mean, they're all over Colorado, so that's the best place to.
They are. It's pretty great. You
can
get sucked in.
A little ad for REI. Anything you don't like within 1 year, if you're a member, you can send back.
That's true. Yeah, I would feel weird sending things back on month 9. But okay, so you hike up in one day. You start at what time? You get there at what time?
We started about 9:45 in the morning, 10 o'clock, and we got there. I think it was before 4.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, and
pretty decent time.
Right. However, there was a guy that hit the shelter with us. And by the way, in the shelter, you stay with other people. So you can't determine who gets to stay with you.
Oh, yeah.
There's 12 spots. If you only take 4 spots, there's other spots.
Yeah, 8 to be exact.
Yep. God, your math's so good.
Don't know about that, man. Okay.
So other people would come into the shelter. So we got there first. We thought we had it all to ourselves, and then the other people started coming in.
Okay.
And so that's a little weird.
How were these people?
They were awesome.
Yeah, they're campers.
Yeah, but one of the guys came in the shelter, and we were like, it took us like 6-7 hours because we rested. We were like, how long did it take you? Oh, I got here in 3.
Oh, was he like running?
Pretty much. Oh. Yeah. He said, and he was a very techie type hiker, so he looked at his mile per hour and he could tell it. He averaged 3 miles per hour. We didn't average that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No. No. I mean, that 3 miles an hour is a pretty good clip walking.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, especially uphill.
Yeah.
So the ascent, was it like rock stairs up? Was it like loose gravel?
It was
a
loose
bit
gravel
of
and all. So we went up a trail called the Rainbow Falls Trail.
Okay.
We came down a trail called the Bull Gap Trail.
Oh.
Coming down was much more technical than we went up. So the
When
Rainbow
they
Falls
say-
trails,
When they say technical in the hiking world, what does that mean?
that means narrow and rocky, typically,
Okay.
and a lot of steps.
Okay.
You know, you got to watch your step a lot.
All right.
On less technical trails are wider and nicer and more kept.
Okay. Technical. I always wondered, I was like, how do you get technical walking? But all right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
All right. And so what was so impactful other than just being cut off? Or is that the deal?
I
Is
don't know.
that-
I think it's the being cut off
Okay.
and having to just be with one another.
Yeah.
How often do we get just to be with our kids?
Yeah. Yeah. Not in the car,
Mm-mm.
you know.
Nope, because they
it's-
got freaking AirPods.
Sometimes not even watching a movie, they'll be on their phone.
Yep.
You know, and kind of partly paying attention. I will notice myself watching something and then like get a message and then get roped into something. And the next thing I know, I've lost 15, 20 minutes of whatever I'm watching.
And then, I mean, I don't know if your children do this, but Jane Addison keeps an AirPod in all the time. And even when you're talking to her, she's got one in. And so for that not to work was awesome.
I think I've seen that a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan.
No.
Not a big fan. Not a big fan of ear you know, the AirPods.
Yeah.
AirPods in while they're cleaning the kitchen because you can't communicate. Like, hey,
Right. You
hey,
can't
this,
be in the
this,
house.
Right, yeah, this,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that too. So that being cut off like that forces you to
Focus on one another.
really communicate with each other. That's good.
And so this is basically just a PSA announcement saying get away with your kids with no technology. And I would like to say, because I've even tried this a lot, let's turn off our phones. That don't work. Because you're going to turn your phone back on.
I'm sure some people do it, but I'm with you.
I'm sure
know.
some. Well, I can tell you in my family, I don't have the discipline, or I've not promoted the discipline of saying, let's just have some non-phone time.
Yeah.
And I've not promoted the discipline in myself to turn it off either. So seeing no signal is a very, because I even look sometimes, like the twitch would get me.
Yeah.
You know? And I'd have to look.
Yeah. I know that I've seen some sort of study that how many times do we look at our phone per day? I know.
Oh, it's scary. This number's scary.
96 times per day, once every 10 to 12 minutes. I think that's lowballing it.
Oh my God.
We actually touch our phones up to 2,617 times per day and unlock our phones 150 times on average. That is an April 3rd, 2023 study.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. How many times do Americans look at their phones? Americans check their phones 144 times per day. 89% of Americans say they check their phones within the first 10 minutes of waking up. That's 89%. 75% of Americans feel uneasy leaving their phone at home. 75% of Americans check their phones within 5 minutes of receiving a notification. Yeah, so you tried to break free from that.
Well, I was fortunate enough to not try to break free from that. It just happened.
Okay, tell me about that.
Meaning, I had no idea the place we were staying had no cell service.
Okay.
So, like, when I say this trip was impromptu, a friend called me. He said, me and my daughter are going to hike Mount LeConte. Do you and your daughter want to go? I said, yes.
Okay.
And then we left 2 days later.
Whoa. And J.A. was okay with it?
Yep, she was.
Okay.
She was cool.
All right.
And so we talked. We got to talk about life.
Yeah.
She's going in the 10th grade.
Mhm.
So, this was the week before school started. So she had a lot of that on her brain. So she was talking about, her insecurities about the 10th grade and going to school. And at the school she's going to, she was in something last year called the 9th grade academy, where all the 9th graders was together. So it was still like a little middle school in a way. So this was the first year she was going to, like, with other people.
Big high school,
big people. When my middle daughter, Ava, went to school, I remember the first day she came out of school to the car line, she looked at me and she said, "Dad, there's guys with beards here." And so, there's always a little anxiety about that. So we got to talk about all that. And so that was really cool.
That is cool. That is cool. One of the things that I was thinking about that you said, I did everything wrong. And you got to see that. But the one thing you did say too is but we did it. And I think that there's some overlap there too, is that you just jumped in and did it. And, what are the chances of something go wrong on that deal? I mean, not a whole lot. Maybe you could slip and fall. Maybe you could get lost.
Twist an ankle.
You're with some other people that, that's a pretty safe deal, but you packed too much in your bag. Oh, well, you suffered a little more than you probably should have. Maybe you went a little hungry for a day or two. That's okay, but you did it. And I think that's probably a good message for listeners to listen to.
Oh, man. And the overlap of how much do we take? I mean, the overlap of packing too much in your bag is how much every day does people pack too much on their schedule or pack too much in their life? In their life,
yeah.
So.
And that's a pretty heavy burden to bear, huh?
Yeah. And what do we actually like that
one? You see what I did there?
What do we actually need?
That's a good point. Well, and that's what I was going to say. The other thing that I was really thinking about is that when you take away that connection to this, and man, I'm not saying social media is bad by any means. We use it all the time. I think it's been, beneficial in a lot of ways. But some of the cons is that we think I can get caught up, my children can get caught up in thinking that persona that we put out to the world is important and that it actually means anything. And I don't know that it does unless your job is some sort of influencer, which, hey, whatever, that happens. But the connections, the relationships that you have that are the closest ones to you are really what should be in the hierarchy of top priorities, and they get watered down because of the engineering of social media with the streaks and with the notifications and with the, what do they call that other thing that's called your Be Real?
Yeah, you gotta be real.
Be real. Which
have you seen that? It pops up on your phone and it says "Be real."
Yeah,
and so you have to immediately get on social media and take a picture. It takes a picture of what you're doing and then the forward-facing camera.
Yeah,
on the phone too.
I mean, great engineering, great social engineering. It just it does mix up the signal about what actually is real.
Right.
We're manufacturing like reality TV, which isn't reality TV. Reality is walking around with your dad in nature, seeing real trees, smelling the smell, having to figure out where you're going to use the bathroom, having to figure out where you're going to bathe. Do you want to, brushing teeth, how are you going to fix that food? You get a little gratitude for the food when you're not getting the opportunity to just order and it's brought out to you in 5 minutes,
Yeah. I mean,
food delivered or someone else delivers it to your house.
How about this is all the food we got. We got to make it back down this mountain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
water, just water.
Not like we were in, dire straits.
No.
But still it was I'm hungry and I don't have food. My kids don't know that feeling.
Yeah, my kids don't either. We're soft. So that's good.
Yeah, and so we ended the trip, though. This is cool. So 3 days hiking, total 24 miles, but we ended it whitewater rafting.
Oh, okay.
Which was amazing.
Were there like real rapids? And
Yep.
Okay.
Class 3 rapids.
Oh, dang.
We
Okay.
did it in blow-up kayaks.
Yes.
No guide.
Oh. Okay.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
The Nottahela River
Okay.
in Bryson City, North Carolina. So we left Gatlinburg and drove down to Bryson City and on our way home, and we whitewater rafted. So also having to watch her and her friend navigate these rapids, that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
All by themselves with no guide and to see their eyes when they would see the rapid was kind of cool.
But they did it?
They did it.
And when they got
conquered it.
When they got done, what was the result?
They loved it.
They did. Okay.
Yeah. So,
and before, were they real apprehensive to go ahead and do it?
They were. Yeah. They had no idea. I mean, we've been whitewater rafting before with a guide, but
yeah,
she's never done it by herself.
So do hard things.
Do scary things.
That was scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the perfect ending to the trip.
That's good. Man, that's cool.
And then we got back in the real world right after the rafting and got us a Starbucks.
And right onto Snapchat.
And right back
immediately onto Snapchat.
7 hours coming home.
7 hours of forehead snaps.
Forehead snaps.
Half face snaps.
Yep.
You know, keeping the streak alive. Paying for the streak. Did you pay for the streak? Do you know?
I don't know if I paid for the streak.
Okay.
She's got her own card, but I don't know.
We'll check that statement later.
Yeah, we got to check that
We'll have
statement.
to report back.
And so you got away a little bit.
I did. In the long time listeners, if we've got any of those, will not be shocked that I went to Colorado. Like you said, school's about to start, and I've got an 18-year-old that has gone away to school. He reported early for football, and I've got a 15-year-old that starts back school next week, and a 10-year-old boy that starts back to school next week. It's also my wife's birthday coming up and my anniversary. I'm all about efficiency, so we kind of tied it all in together, and we did not nearly as much cut off from society and social and web presence, but we did a lot of nature stuff. So we went horseback riding, which was really cool.
You had a cowboy hat on.
Yeah, man. I grew up in Oklahoma, and my brother is a straight up cowboy. So
God, I wish I could wear a cowboy hat, but I absolutely look stupid.
Really?
Yeah, I tried it.
No, man. Everyone can wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah, cowboy hats and cowboy boots.
I wore cowboy hats early in life. And I've embraced it again. And when you're out in the sun and stuff like that, cowboy hats are pretty great. Those lightweight straw ones. I digress. We went horseback riding, and it's fantastic. I used to ride some horses here and there when I was growing up, and it was just good times. And Jordan, my wife, did too, and it was good times. My daughter, the 15-year-old, she had ridden horses before, but I wasn't sure about my boys. Speaking of, the 18-year-old was able to drive up and spend some time with us. I'll touch on that in just a second, but I wasn't sure if they were going to be okay with it. And man, they all just kind of locked in and had a great time. And again, you're riding on the horse. You're sort of managing the horse just a little bit, not much. You're on a trail. You're looking around, and you just got some quality time for 3 or 4 hours on the back of a horse. Just kind of roaming the mountains and going on these trails and figuring things out. And it was awesome. My daughter lost her phone, so there we go. Talk about cut off. I went back the next day with her, hiked about 7 or 8 miles, and this is all uphill too. Crossed 3 streams, water up to my waist a couple of times, to look for a phone that we never found. And I think the proud dad moment is that when I thought that it was all going to break down and she was going to have like some fit about losing her phone, she kind of just grinned and bared it and accepted it and was cool with it, even though we searched for, probably 2.5 hours for that phone. and we just never found it. And I thought she was going to be devastated, and she was actually okay. I was super proud of her. And yeah, she didn't have a phone the rest of the trip, and she didn't get a phone till, I don't know, a day or two after we got back. So it was good times. That was good. My son came, he had a break between summer football camp or summer football and then the fall camp as they're getting ready for the season. There was like a 4-day break or 5-day break, and he spent 4 days with us and 5 nights. And what was significant is that you could tell a difference in just like 2 months of being away from mom doing everything for you, and the conveniences that happen there, to being a little more grateful for, meals being cooked and things being planned for them, and just kind of spending time with us, which was pretty cool. You could, he was saying thank you for dinner, and he was kind of helping cleaning up without being asked. And it was good times. There was that. We went fishing, and the fishing was okay. Wasn't near as good as the time that you and I went. When was that? Was that in July?
Yeah,
on the Eagle River?
Yeah, that was.
Man, this should have been a great time, but it was kind of a bad day, I guess, because you heard some other folks not having a good day too. Ezra caught 2. I had 2 on. Both of them flew off, and Evan is just a knucklehead. He had a couple on, but who knows? He just out there, man.
Oh, I bet he just loved
he was just slinging the rod. Yeah, just like, oh, is it like this? No, absolutely not. But you just whatever, buddy. So it was good, man. And you're just kind of out there in nature, and everything slows down. Everything simplified. Everything got a little. What was important became more and more in focus, which was, quality time, relationships, what are you going to eat, and sort of everything sort of revolved around meal times and stuff like that. And then, and yeah, man, no one checked out, it seemed like, and no one needed to go do their own thing. It was a good deal. We had a good time.
So our plea to you is, check out. Get away. Do whatever you need to. Get your kids away.
I think what really I was thinking as we were having this conversation is that, and I'm probably sensitive to this right now because I have an 18-year-old that left, and admittedly, that was kind of my homie. He was like my little protege, and really at dinner time, we were intentional about having dinner, and no phone at the dinner table. But that's only like an hour, right? If that, sometimes. But I think I know we intentionally set aside some time before school went back and everything got chaotic to just have time for us. And it was probably more important for me this time because I know that they leave. I know that this time right now, especially with the 15 and the 10-year-old, is fleeting. There's only so many of these things that I'm going to get. And before too long, in 3 years, another one's going to be gone. In another 8 years, another one's going to be gone. In 8 years out of 80 years is not a big deal. It's 10%. And when they're gone, those times right there, those are the things we're going to be talking about for the rest of our lives.
Absolutely. It's the memories that you create now that you take into the future. But seeing your kids, I have 3 that's left now. So seeing them leave and thrive is awful. It's nice too.
Yeah. And really, those times are probably when you do get to connect with them, is probably when you're able to have the most influence.
Definitely so.
They're actually listening. And so if you know you need to talk about whatever, those are the times you can have those conversations, and they're probably listening. When I just bark at them while we're driving from one place to the next and I've got 10 minutes and I'm trying to cram in life lessons, they're not listening. They're listening when you've connected and everything's settled down and you've got a relationship building time going on. It was good. The other thing I was really thinking about, especially this trip, is that if you're a listener to this podcast and you're probably sharing some tendencies that Keith and I have, which are we're trying to be better. And for the most part in this podcast, we're talking about becoming better in business, which help us become better in other aspects of our life. We're talking about becoming better in fitness or jujitsu or something like that to be better in other aspects of our life. But when I intentionally spent some time away with family, and admittedly last year I didn't get a chance to do much of that. I was grinding. This time, it sort of brought things around full circle where I was like, oh, well, this is what all of that is for. This is why I'm doing that. This is what some of the fruits of those endeavors are, is being able to do this. And it gave me, a little more energy, a little more focus, a little bit more, motivation to kind of continue down that path. And like I said to you, when I came back, I'm like, oh man, I'm ready to go. I was ready to hit work running because I had a ton of ideas. I had some clarity about some of the issues we were dealing with, and I got a chance to sort of step away. I actually still worked a little bit. I had some Zoom calls set up with some mentors. I had some Zoom calls set up, me mentoring some others. And then I had some real intentional planned thinking time where I got a chance to think about, some issues we've been dealing with and got a chance to, I didn't sit on top of a mountain and meditate or anything, but I did get away and I took about a couple of hours to just think about one problem with a notepad and no cell service or anything else. And when you change your environment, you kind of change your state of mind and you get to see the problem from a different perspective.
I thought I was going to get to sit on the top of a mountain and meditate, but my feet were hurting too bad. And I was looking for...
And your stomach was growling.
And I was looking for water. Survival, Sid.
Yeah, well, that gives you a different perspective as well.
It does.
Yeah, so I think that's our pitch, and that's... I hope that you're okay with this type of podcast. And what we're really trying to do is just be as genuine as possible that these type of experiences have impacted our lives, and we decided to take a little bit of a break or maybe a left turn from being business focused and just decided to have this kind of podcast that maybe will resonate with you as well.
So our plea to you is this: get away and take your kids with you.
Maybe you can't be as spontaneous as Keith. I wanted to bring this up too, is that the guy's been crafting this kind of life for a while, and he's able to do that now. He probably wasn't able to do that 7 years ago, 5 years ago, but he's able to do that now. And if that's something you want to do, something you're interested in, you gotta decide how I am going to set my life up to do that. There's some sacrifices there too. So, don't think, oh, I'll never be able to do that, and you just shut off. Think, how can I do that? I'm not really as able to be as spontaneous as Keith is and go in 2-day notice and go hike for 4 days, but I'm able to plan it out a little bit and still get away. So I think there's something for all of you.
I can show you in my journal in the early 2000s where I wrote specific goals about life goals. Yeah. And that's important, and we talk about it all the time. Create a goal for what you want to be when you grow up. And I'm still crafting that. I don't quite know it, but I can tell you that I started a long time ago saying, what do I want my life to look like? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's working out well, and with that, I think we've kind of touched on that experience, and I hope you guys got something out of it.
So if this inspires you to go do something, talk to us about it. Let us know what you go do.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
I think that's it. I think we covered it.
All right. I'm out.
Peace.
Let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Chris Drogmiller. He's with CMD Fencing. One, I really appreciate his support to the podcast. He listens to the podcast, but long before that, he has done several projects for me at my home, at our business, and the dude just does an awesome job. One of the things I really like about him is it's basically just him and someone that helps him. His attention to detail is phenomenal. The work is always high quality. If you've ever had a fence built, you know that the gate itself and how it opens and shuts is kind of the stamp of quality. It always works well. I've made him make some interesting kind of fencing where it's all horizontal. He had no problems with that, did a great job. And the guy is freaking awesome. He's easy to work with and he does a fantastic job. He's a firefighter. So, you know, he works 2 days on and 2 days off. So he comes in and knocks my project out on the days that he's off. And the dude's awesome. You can find him on our website, overlaplife.com. You can find him on Facebook, CMD Fencing. And let's see, his phone number is 901-484-5546. So if you need a fence, need some fence work, call Chris Drogmiller, CMD Fencing. Okay, guys, everyone knows if you're a business owner, a business leader, or you're just a person in the world needing help with accounting, you need a real partner. You need someone that's going to listen to you and not just plug numbers in to make their job easy to do your taxes. At least that's what I want. I've been through a lot of accountants in my life, and I have yet to find one even remotely as good as Johnny Barranco. He's the owner of Barranco and Associates, and he's the kind of guy that really doesn't manipulate your books to make his job easier. He really is trying to give you insights into your business or into your financial planning world. Whatever your goals are, he's there to help. And so I just encourage you to give him a call. Barranco and Associates, look him up online. It's barrancoandassociates.com and just see if he can help you. He really is the accountant that I recommend to everyone, even before he was a sponsor of the podcast. So please, if you need an accountant, just do yourself a favor and give him a call.